Well, alright guys, here we are with another video. I want to show you how you can change out a motor on a Suburban furnace. In this case, we've got a SF35 VHQ mounted vertically, and all we have to do in this case is change out the motor. So when it starts, it's just making a weird noise. You can hear that the bearings are messed up, and it's just got really low RPMs. It's not spinning fast enough, and I already checked voltage, because low voltage can affect the RPMs of the motor. But in this case, we have good voltage still, but the motor's just dying out, which is a common issue. Several of the 23 model Suburban furnaces have been having these issues with their motors. So in this video, I'll show you how I swap this out, which in this case, it's kind of annoying because we've got some clips that I'll get to in a minute to release this cover, but it's pretty straightforward. So let me show you what we do first. First things first, we shut off gas, so that there's no gas coming out of these lines. We bleed it out through the kitchen stove. Just turn on the stove until the fire dies out. That way we empty out all the gas. That way as soon as I disconnect this, there's not that much smell of gas getting inside of the RV. So now I can disconnect the gas line because we've already done all that. And what I like to do with this furnace, Suburban is a lot easier to work with. You release this one screw here off the side, and I can slide the whole core, this inner part, out enough to where I can get to what I need to get to. So I'll show you how I do that. So this one screw is the only thing holding this whole core to the cage. So the only thing to be careful here is when you pull it out, don't go too far out because you're going to squeeze these wires, electrical wires, and you can have issues. So be careful when pulling it out. And that's enough. So on the sides, let me get the camera a little closer. I want to show you the clips that it has. Alright, so Suburban moved away from these screws, which were a lot easier. You just remove a few screws here and there, and you can separate this. And they went to these clips. But you have to be careful because over time, this plastic dries out, and when you stick your screwdriver in there to pry it and release it, it could snap that. Which if it does, don't worry about it. You can always just install screws and forget about the clips. So I'm going to release these clips carefully. Then I'm going to move down here. Let me show you. So down here I have a screw on both sides that are locking the motor. So once I release these 4 clips up top on both sides, down here, I remove those 2 screws, I can remove this cover and reveal the motor. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's get to it. Alright, so we have the cover released now. So let me unplug this so we have more wiggle room. Now if you trace these wires, this is your positive going to the board. Let me grab some snips. So on the board, you can't really mess this up. You probably can't see from the angle of the camera, but this is labeled. I just slid this board out to show. This is the cable going to the motor, and it's labeled BLO for blower. So we're going to release that, and the negative cable wraps around and goes onto the left side. Let me show you. Okay, so tucked in the back here is a little block that's there's a rivet there holding it to the cage, so it grounds the whole cage, and all your ground wires and negative wires are back here. So this black one is the one for the fan, the motor. So I'm going to unplug that. Easier said than done. And just feed that cable back to the other side so we can pull this cover off. Alright, so this is that black cable that was going to that block on the other side. So we're just going to feed it through this hole. And now with everything loose, we can take this cover off. I'll set it to the side for now. Well, if it'll hang, there we go. There's our motor. Let me put the board back in place because we don't need that. What I'm going to do is take this motor out. We already have everything loose, so it's straightforward now. And we will remove the two blowers on it. There we go. Alright, so this is what we're working with. We've got the motor, and we're going to take off both of these squirrel cages here. So you just need to find the right bit, Allen bit, to release it. And we'll slide it off just like that. And what I'll do, since I have the new motor here, I'll go ahead and mount it to the new motor in the correct position. There is a hole here. If you had a long bit, which I left in my vehicle, you could get to the screw with that long bit. But in this case, I just like this little tool because it's got me out of a pinch several times. So I just fit this inside the cage to break that screw loose. Alright, so now we can reverse the process, but what I want to do, I want to keep this in mind, is when I put this in place, I'm just going to spin it by hand to make sure it's not rubbing anywhere it's not supposed to. So let's go back to the furnace and get this installed. Alright, so to install it, we just have to keep an eye on the direction of these wires. But basically it just snaps back into place. And the position is good. It's not rubbing anything, so the cover will just feed all the wires through. So that's a hole for the motor, and these other wires will go out this side hole. The igniter out the top, and there we go. So now with the motor in place, we line everything up and you just close the plastic so that it'll snap in place. Alright, I'll add these two screws to lock the motor in place, and then we'll wire the whole thing up. Now the one thing, you want to make sure that these plug in well and tight, that's not loose. If this electrical connector is too loose, you can grab some pliers and just squeeze the connectors this way, just to close it a little bit. That way it pinches on, it bites on that pin as it should. Okay, in this case we're good. Lock the board, there we go. We'll zip tie everything in a minute. Let me run this ground wire behind the motor. So I got that ground wire plugged into the block, and now we can go ahead and zip tie the wires, just clean it up in a minute after we test it. We will test it to make sure it's running as it should. And once we're happy with that, I'll just clean the wires up a little bit. But let me push this back into place. Just to line up the hole this had before with that screw. So let me grab that screw. There we go. We'll connect the gas back up. When connecting gas lines, always tighten, release it just a hair, and then retighten. That's how you make a seal with these flare fittings. I've got the switch on, everything's plugged in. We'll go ahead and fire it up and see how it does. Perfect. All right, that's it. Suburban is a whole lot easier just because of that, and that you can move the whole core. The Medic, you usually have to take the whole thing out, but that's how I do it. I hope this video helps. Have a good day.